Hey everybody, welcome to our first team training on policy and procedure. If you are listening to this, you are hearing the recording or the replay. Tonight we have my sponsors and direct upline, LuLaRoe Charmers, Jessica Douglas, and Chrissy Hyatt Stacy. So welcome, ladies. They are going to be taking over and explaining into more detail policy and procedure, and then they will open it up for some Q&A at the end.
Okay. I'm going to mute you. Perfect. Well, hi, everyone. I'm glad you're here. So Shannon asked us to do this call on policy and procedure, and I love policy and procedure because I and Chrissy, we are rule followers. We like rules. We like to know what is expected of us. We like it when it's black and white, and we know what we need to do. And so policy and procedure, first, what is it? So when we all signed our initial agreement with LuLaRoe, we signed away saying that we had read and agreed to comply to policy and procedure. And in the independent consultant agreement, I have it pulled up right here, there's links to all of the policy and procedure. There are amendments also, because they do have some amendments that they have done. So all of that is available to us. It is in the back office under assets and then documents. And so something that I really want to point out is it says if the consultant does not agree to the policies and procedures, it is the consultant's sole recourse to notify LuLaRoe and cancel the agreement. So what LuLaRoe is telling us is that if you are not going to follow policy and procedure, which is what you signed saying that you were going to do, then they're asking you not to be a consultant. They're asking you to call and let them know that's not going to work, and they will terminate your agreement. Now, a lot of times lately, I think that we hear like, what? That's against PMP, or I'm gonna report you to compliance because you're not following PMP. So what does that mean, and how does that kind of take effect? So Mark has always told us that he hates PMP. He hates it. And the reason is that he wants us all to know what to do. He wants us all to be able to see the big picture. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't benefit everybody, then we shouldn't do it. This isn't a business where it's all about me. This is a business where it is a whole group effort. And so we want to make sure, and Mark wants to make sure that we're just being good humans, if that makes sense, and doing the right thing. So Mark hates policy and procedure, but recognizes that we need policy and procedure in order to keep everybody on the straight path. So when you sign up, you are expected to follow policy and procedure. And some of the really big key points that come with that, the very first one is you are agreeing to using LuLaRoe's processing system, and that's Bless. Bless is there for a lot of different reasons. And as we know, like this training is on February 6th, there's changes coming to Bless. And sometimes that can be frustrating because it can make the system a little wonky. I think we've all had moments where Bless doesn't work for us. We're at a vendor event or we're trying to invoice and it doesn't work. And that is super, super frustrating. And so LuLaRoe has given us permission to use a third party like Square or PayPal, but we are required to then enter it into Bless as a cash sale. They want to know every single transaction. There's a lot of new changes that will be coming with Bless. And again, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. It's not going to be perfect at first. And there's probably going to be things that are frustrating. But again, when we signed up to be consultants, we signed saying that we were going to follow policy and procedure, and policy and procedure states that we have to use LuLaRoe's processing system. We can use other systems if the system is down, but we have to go back and enter them in. So that is a really, really big one. So what happens if you don't use Bless? Well, first, you're against policy and procedure because you're not entering into Bless. You're not then able to get your rewards. If your big goal is to cruise qualify, you have to have those transactions through Bless. There's no other way that they would know about those transactions. The third thing, which I find the most important, is it's how Patrick predicts and projects everything. What is selling, what sizes are selling, what styles are selling, and that is how he predicts what is to come. So if all of us decided not to use Bless, and none of us put in that we sold 50 tall and curvy leggings, then Patrick wouldn't put in orders for tall and curvy leggings. And I think we all can see where that can get us when there is a shortage of tall and curvy leggings. So it can follow with tall and curvy leggings. It could let's talk about Amelia and Anna right now. They are out of 2 and 3X. They've been out of 2 and 3X Annas for 3 months. They just came in the other day. They've been out of 2 and 3X Amelias on and off for 3 months. Those are key indicators on how that they're going to project later on. So these are why using Bless is so important, and again is required from us. Something that is also important, and I will say this, there will be further clarification from Home Office on this, and I would assume some more amendments to P&P, but that is buy-sell trade sites. So those are Howie Rowe and LuLaRoe Swappers and those sites. And LuLaRoe has asked us to not be on them. They're not how you guys are going to find true loyal customers. Those are the people who are going to come on and do a quick sale and bada bing, bada boom. Probably ask if you take PayPal, to be very honest. And so using buy, sell, trade sales sites is something that they have asked us not to do. It is not in black and white in policy and procedure yet. Home Office has just asked us that. And so we need to pay attention when things like that start to happen, because there will be further clarification, and in my opinion, there will be something in policy and procedure in it very soon. So that is another important thing. Again, it's not where you're going to get your customers, but that means no advertising your pop-ups, no advertising your page, no advertising your unicorns. Nothing about your page can be advertised with buy, sell, trade sites. I just thought of something else, so I'm going to write it down really quick so I talk about that in a minute. So that can be very important to know. I know a lot of us utilize them and did utilize them, but LuLaRoe does not want us to be doing that. They want us to be building our customer relationships through in-person and genuine interactions. It's the core of the whole company to be able to interact and build the relationships that way. This company and the core of this company is such a personal experience for people to fit people and help people feel beautiful. And that is done through personal relationships, not through a quick sale. And trust me, Chrissy and I both know, like, it's nice to get a quick sale. We're not discounting that in any stretch of the imagination. But it's important to know that advertising about buy, sell, trade sets is not what they want us to do. Speaking of discounts, let's talk about MAP. So when we sign our consultant agreement and we're, again, agreeing to follow policy and procedure, that means that we are agreeing to MAP prices and truly advertising at MAP prices online. When Christy and I started in October of 2015, did you guys know we could pick our own prices? They gave us a range and we got to pick the price that we wanted to be at. And so I remember both of us sitting down. I was just looking at my notebook the other day, and we were going over all of the styles that we were going to carry. And since we're a partnership, I remember saying, I think we need to have the prices be even numbers so that's an easier amount to split. In my head, that made sense. So I remember a Cassie skirt we were selling. I think the range was $21 to $25. We were selling them for either 22 or 24. Do you remember, Chrissy? Oh, hold on.
I don't remember them ever changing. I thought we always did it at 35.
No. Nope, we got to pick we did them at 28. That
28.
was
28.
Started at 28. Our leggings back then, we did 2 for $40. We were able to do 2 for $40. We were able to pick our prices. In January of 2016, they raised the prices. They raised the retail prices, and we were not allowed to pick anymore. So at that point, the Cassie skirt went up to like $32. And so we were fairly horrified because we're military wives, and we were like, oh my gosh, like we do not want, it can be a lot to spend $32 on a skirt. So that happened in January. And then in February, they really got us and they did MAP prices, and they raised everything once again. And those
it was only a month.
Only a month. And I remember we felt like, oh man, we just raised the prices because we had to. And now our customers are going to think like, gosh, do you need another buck? Like, we didn't want to come across that we were like trying to be greedy, but at the same time, LuLaRoe implemented MAP, and they implemented the minimum price that it had to be. So a Cassie skirt had to be $35. There has not been an increase since then. So we're like at a year since an increase. So it's kind of interesting, but, so MAP prices. And so that means that we are required to advertise at MAP prices. Now, I want to say this very carefully for all of you guys. That does not mean that you cannot have a quick little sale, but a quick little sale should never, ever, 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 ever be the basis of your business. So, for example, if you are only ever having sales and selling Cassies for $30, you're hurting yourself. You're totally not getting the profit that you're working for, but you're also undercutting 300 people on Team Lucky Charms, 3,000 people on Team Shooting Stars, 6,000 people on Team Unicorn Wranglers, and all of these women who are working for their family to sell and to make a better life for them. And so that is what LuLaRoe is so adamantly against. So there has been a lot of question lately about even PM for prices, email for prices. You cannot even advertise that now. You cannot even advertise PM me for special prices. You cannot advertise a sale price. Chrissy and I have found when we're working to kind of like wind down a line or move something, in-homes are typically our best bet for that. We have a little rack where we'll have a few dollars off, and those always go well. But advertising at MAP prices is vital and something that we have all agreed to when we sign policy and procedure. I know that can be confusing sometimes, and if you ever have questions, need anything cleared up, or have a question about something in particular, you're more than welcome to message us. But it has to be advertised at MAP prices. I wrote something down and I can't remember. That also means it is against policy and procedure to advertise any other product to your LuLaRoe VIP group. So, for example, Chrissy and I were just talking about Posh. She loves Posh, loves it, loves it, loves it. And we have some friends who sell Posh. But as consultants, we could never use our VIP group to sell her product to them. Those are our customers. Those are LuLaRoe customers. And really the basis of what LuLaRoe has asked is those are customers who are trusting us with their clothes. And it is not our job to be pushing a million different other products. Can we talk about LipSense for a second? I mean, I'm seeing that everywhere. And I'm not saying that people can't love it, but you have to be very careful about how you advertise that. And you cannot advertise that on your LuLaRoe VIP page, and you cannot send samples. We've been asked that a few times, or do a giveaway or something like that. You cannot intermix the two. So that is important also. Another question that Shannon had asked me to address was time off. And so I know that somebody's having a baby on here, and congratulations to you. LuLaRoe is here and wants to set you up for success and knows that every season of our life has different events. And so you can call them and they will put you on a hold, and so you will not go inactive. So that LuLaRoe, I say this often, Chrissy says it often, and I know it can sound a little cliche sometimes, but they always have our back and they want to set us up for success. And so you are absolutely able to get time off for a life event like that, and you are able to call them and they will have that set up. Okay, so then 2 more things. The groups, as far as team pages. So I'm trying to remember when it was, Chrissy. April. It was last April. We had just gotten over the MAP prices, and all of a sudden it came out that we could not have anybody in our queue, anybody who was in the queue on our team page. Now, the reason this had all of a sudden become an issue was because when Kirsty and I signed up, we waited like 4 days for our call. So it was very instantaneous. We signed our agreement. We got the phone call 4 days later, and we were on all the team pages. It was quick. In January, there started to become a queue. By April, the queue was 12 to 14 weeks long. And so what they were finding was these people who were in the queue were having access to all of the proprietary information of LuLaRoe. So when you get the call, you are finalizing that legal contract between you and LuLaRoe. It is not finalized until you have that call. And so information from home office, actually it's anything from home office, unless noted that it is for QBs. And they will say Q Club information. That information can go to the Q Club. Nothing else that they give out can go to somebody who is not an onboarded consultant, because the legal paperwork has not been completed. They have not finalized it. And so what happened was they told us that we couldn't have people in the queue on our team page. And this was devastating to Chrissy and I. We love our team and we want everybody to feel welcome and able to ask questions. And there were some groups that were like kicking people out of their group, and they didn't mean it in a malicious way, but both Chrissy and I both were like, gosh, rejection at its core. How could we have like welcomed these people into our team page and poured so much of our heart into them and then say sorry? So our very first page was Team Lucky Charms. And so what Chrissy and I decided to do was we created another group, TLC Ladies, and that was then going to be the group for onboarded members. So anybody who was on Team Lucky Charms and not onboarded stayed there, but everybody else was added to TLC Ladies. And we didn't announce it or anything like that. We did not want anybody who was on Team Lucky Charms to feel rejected. Clearly, Christy and I have rejection issues for some reason. I don't even know. So that is why there are 2 groups. Team Lucky Charms, anybody can be added to because there is no information from home office. I take that back. QBs can be added to. Anybody who has signed the paperwork and is in your back office on your team tree and is awaiting their call can be added to Team Lucky Charms. Once they are onboarded, they can be added to TLC Ladies, because that is the group where stuff from home offices is shared. And And really, it's all onboarded consultants. That's where you're going to find your best bet if you're looking for something. If something has a damage and you need to trade it out, or, oh my gosh, Bless isn't working. Is Bless working for you? That's where you're going to get that information from. So that's why there are two groups. Unicorn Wranglers has two groups. I think a lot of places have two groups. And so you do want to be careful to add them to the correct group in regards to being in the queue or an onboarded consultant. The last thing I really want to touch on is I love LuLaRoe, and I love policy and procedure. I love the document. I love everything laid out. But they have another document that I think kind of goes unknown a lot, and I love it even more, and it is their etiquette and expectations of consultants, and it is linked up on the TLC ladies in the albums. And what I love about it is it's really, I feel like, Mark's vision for policy and procedure. It's not the nitty gritty stuff, but it's etiquette and ethics. I said the wrong, but it's how to hold yourself. It's how to represent yourself. You are part of this amazing culture. And I hope all of you are able to go to convention and one day leadership and the cruise and be immersed in the culture, because Christy and I loved the company and what it stood for when we signed up. But I think for both of us, when we went to we went to Inspire, that was our very first LuLaRoe event. It shook us to our core because it confirmed everything that we had been feeling, and just the love and the culture. It was a very powerful moment for both of us. And so this document, the etiquette and ethics, which I have here, talks about just some of those things that maybe you just need a little reminder about. So it talks about social media. First thing says, if you use another consultant's pictures, give credit. Of course, we're sharing love, we're sharing ideas, but don't be greedy. Never use someone else's pictures and say it's your own. Only use hashtag LuLaRoe on pictures that are quality and you feel represent the brand. Do not participate in contests on Instagram or Facebook unless it states that consultants are welcome. They're to build LuLaRoe customer bases. It's 3 pages long, and I highly recommend everybody read it, because it's how LuLaRoe is asking us to conduct ourselves. And I just think it's a wonderful document also. So those were kind of the points that Shannon had wanted me to go through. Chrissy is going to kind of take it over and talk more about the legal aspect of this. And then Shannon or Maury, if you guys have anything that you want us to clarify, then just let me know. So Chrissy, I'm going to mute myself if you want to unmute yourself.
Oh, well, I always have to find the button. So everything that Jess is saying, I will say the etiquette form too. I just want to add, I would consider it your unwritten LuLaRoe Bible. And I would, even though from a legal standpoint, it has not the same weight as the policy and procedures does, sometimes minding your P's and Q's etiquette wise is better for you in the social laws, because the last thing you want to do is upset a whole bunch of consultants. The culture of those that really encompass the culture of LuLaRoe take it to heart, because a lot of people say, it's business. It's the way that it is. Other direct sales companies, you guys are probably familiar, can be rather cutthroat. That was not Deanne's intent. Her intent was to level the playing field for everybody. That is why things were, the business model was devised the way that it was, because she didn't want people to feel competitive with each other. She wanted people to empower other women and do so in a way that had their inventory completely different. So it was never an intention to be cutthroat. And that's why I think as important from a legal standpoint as policies and procedures is, the etiquette form, especially because most of us do our business on social media platforms, is just as equally important. And sometimes if not more, because here's the deal, your VIPs, they don't know what our policies and procedures are. But etiquette wise, you running your group in accordance of it will help just kind of keep the same type of flow. For instance, I can give you guys an example of having other consultants, like having one of your VIPs, for instance, put something like in the unicorn albums, oh, I know so-and-so, that can sell you this. Here's her link. Well, that is something that would not be ethically sound, because that's not fair. Like for us, the Charmers group is our business. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. They're our customer base. So to just willy-nilly, without giving us the chance to actually either find the item or sell them the item, they've taken our business away. So that's just kind of an example to let you guys know about the etiquette part of it. From a legal standpoint, it's crucial that you know policies and procedures. And it doesn't matter if you've ever had a job in corporate America, if you've ever worked for a fast food industry. Every company, every business has policies and procedures, and it is the backbone of every company. And the policies and procedures are written not for you just to have rules and, slaps on the wrist. They're actually written to protect you, the company, the culture, your VIPs, especially from any kind of legal liability. So from the legal aspect, it's important that you read it. It's not just one of those willy-nilly things that you're like, go read policy and procedure, whatever, especially because there's continuous amendments. It is important to be abreast of whatever new is that's coming up. And here's the deal. This company is still new. The fact of the matter is policies and procedures are going to continuously change. And with that, we can say, Jess and I were at our CPA's office several weeks ago, and the laws change every single year. There's new laws. Our CPA was telling us, he has to completely take courses and keep up with his knowledge of the new laws. It's the same type thing. It's very important that you are careful with the information that you put in your LuLaRoe groups. And I say groups because Jessica and I actually have several groups, because we have our team groups, we have the Q group, we have a leaders group, which we can't wait for everybody to get to. And we have a trainers group, we have our LuLaRoe Charmers VIP group, and then we have something called Extra Charming, which is for our plus size customers. So we really have to monitor the information that we put on in all of those forums, and also everybody else's. In fact, Jess mentioned about LipSense. It just so happened, and here's the deal, is most of the time it's very innocent. Once there might be a breach in policy and procedure, it's very innocent. And is somebody going to completely come after you from a legal standpoint? Hopefully not. Hopefully it never goes that far. But you always have to be thinking about following these rules, because what if that does happen? Today I had to remove something because there was a link on there that somebody innocently had posted about paparazzi. Well, you can't post that. It's, even though it's not our VIP group that we're trying to sell to, it's still a LuLaRoe group, because all of the consultants in there are onboarded consultants. So to be providing another link is a conflict of interest. So making sure that you are reading the policies and procedures, and a lot of it, you guys, honestly, it's going to look great to you, because it's not necessarily one of the easiest things to read. But that's where, when Jessica says, if you have questions, just come to us and ask Shannon about it. Shannon does a really good job about being on top of everything and being in most of the trainings. I see her everywhere. So it's really important that if you have those questions, you ask. From the legal standpoint, I can't say it enough that policy and procedure has to be followed. There's things that occur in your VIP group that you just don't necessarily think about is against policy and procedure. And here's the biggest part of it too, is Jess and I always want to have this protection umbrella over all of you. So if there's ever the case that we happen to see something that is against policies and procedures, we will reach out to you. We will reach out to Shannon. And it's not in a way to reject your ideas or, to necessarily get on you. It's more in a protective fashion. So I want to make sure that we say that, because there are often times that people get really offended when really what we're doing is trying to protect you. We are aware of legal cases now that exist because people decided not to follow policy and procedure, and now it has turned into like a small claims court situation. So it's serious. The legality of everything is very serious. LuLaRoe has a team of lawyers that helps put together these policies and procedures for a reason. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys know the weight of how important the policy and procedures is, and especially when you're dealing with your VIPs, they're entrusting all of their information to you guys. That's a very important aspect to keep in mind when you're using any other third-party websites or any other third-party companies where you share that information. You're endorsing that, and that is against policy and procedure. So you will run a risk if something was to go wrong that, somebody could come back and sue you and say, hey, they shared my information with this, or it got hacked. I would have never done it had you not told me. It's just one of those things that you have to be careful of. So all I'm going to tell you guys is that you just want to be careful of everything that you post. And here's the deal. It may seem like it's daunting, but really it's just telling you, hey, this is what's going to protect you. This is what you're allowed to do. The fact that we're able to sell like we can on social media is amazing in itself. So I would just really go through policies and procedures, read it, but know that there's legality behind it. It's not just something that is written for the sake of making our lives crazy. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Do you want me to mute myself again?
No.
Shannon's back.
All right, Shannon, do you have any questions or follow-ups?
So I just want to get some clarification on a couple of things. So as you were saying, for like the paparazzi, the posh, and those kinds of things, so in your giveaways, is it acceptable to do like a gift basket of like your LuLaRoe leggings, say Lula Cash, et cetera, as well as to have something in there that's not LuLaRoe related? Do you see what I'm saying?
You can have like gift cards. A lot of people do like Starbucks gift cards or something like that, and they have given the okay on like designer purse giveaways, designer handbag giveaways. So but using items from other direct sales companies is what causes the issue.
Okay.
And I would say this too, Shannon, if you happened to do something like that, I feel like just being able to present the basket and say, oh my gosh, there's Lula Cash in here, leggings, what a great, wonderful basket. You don't say what else is in there if it's non-LuLaRoe items, right, and don't show it, because that's in essence, somebody could say, I mean, again, from a legal standpoint, you are advertising it by showing it. You know what I mean?
Yep. I've said, well, with Valentine's coming up, I've seen a lot of ladies, with candles or this really awesome book, or you know what I mean? So there's been a lot of them floating around. So I just wanted to make sure that.
I know Starbucks is a huge one that people give away. I actually got one. I told Chrissy for Christmas, I bought a pair of leggings and the consultant sent me a gift card, which I felt terrible because she should use that for real customers. But I think we gifted it to somebody. We gifted it to a waitress for a Charmers lunch that we had. But it was like such a nice surprise, and that's totally acceptable, something like that.
And the handbags?
They're allowed to do them. They've given the okay right now.
Okay. So we're good then, I guess.
Yeah.
I would say this too, as it's exactly like Jess is saying. I mean, this is just my preference. You guys, obviously, you run your business very soundly, so take it how you want. I personally think if you're going to do those kinds of giveaways, it should be for something special, like a Christmas giveaway or doing those kind of gimmicks and putting out your business money for that is not getting your quality customers. I can tell you, Dana Watkins has a separate group, and I think there's a couple people that do this. She has a separate group just for her, like VIPs to the third power, like the people that have been with her from the beginning that always shop. And she does fun little extra things for them. And it's more of a reward than it is a contest or a raffle giveaway. And then she also gives them the sneak peeks on stuff. She gives them the first round of, say, Valentine leggings. She offers it up to that group before she does it to the rest of her VIPs. So I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money, is what I'm saying, from your business to doing those type of gimmicks. Except for like the special occasion, I mean, however you want to do it. I just feel like Jess and I were talking about this the other day, the giveaways, I mean, it does come as an expense to us. We're able to write it off. But at the same time, who are we getting from doing that giveaway? Are we getting all our numbers increasing like crazy? No. Are our sales increasing like crazy? No. So that's why I say that. But
I saw this post the other day of this lady talking about this one lady was like, I've never tried LuLaRoe. Can you tell me more about it? This was not on our page. And someone said, all I say is enter every single giveaway. I've won 16 pieces on giveaways. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so crazy. 16 pieces on different giveaways. So like Christy said, it's a good business move expense-wise to have giveaways for sure.
But make sure you're logging each and every single one. Because now that it's tax time, she's like, how do you have such a huge business expense? Like, this doesn't even make sense to me. And she goes, do you, for like tax purposes, IRS audit stuff, can you say for sure this person, this date, this specific item? So
you should be running those through Audrey. Everybody should be running those through Audrey so that you.
And a lot of people don't remember, Jess. Like I remember, like coaches and some mentors. Even we were having this discussion, and it wasn't long ago. Just a few. Well, in LuLaRoe world, it could have been 3 days ago. I don't remember. But they were like, "So what do you do with your giveaways?"
Yeah.
And you run them through Audrey and zero it out as a cash sale, because what we do is. I'm just going to use you, Shannon, as an example. So I'll say Shannon Wagner, one size leggings, $25. I zero out. I put Valentine legging giveaway. So that there's something for me to actually reference it, because when I put it into our expenses at the end of the month, and here's another thing too, the expenses that you put in are the wholesale amount, not the retail amount. So that's something that came from our CPA. Of course, you can check with yours. I don't know if it shouldn't be different because it should be federal, but we didn't know that. And so we're like, ooh, retail, $500 worth of stuff. And, it was really like 140 or something. So just so you know that, that way you're not ending up owing more than you think you do because you're writing off more than you should. Because to us, it's only the giveaway of the amount we paid for it. And since we pay wholesale, that's all that we can write off from it. But every little one counts. And I remember last year, people would ask us, so how did you guys mark down every time you gave something away? And we're like, didn't you?
Yes.
And you can't go off your memory. I mean, you can't, I couldn't. We would have given away 2 things if I had gone off my memory. But I've got somebody with a photographic memory, so that helps. But it definitely, everything should be written. Your mileage should be written down. Every hostess rewards that you give away, any gift cards,
for yourself,
the stuff that you keep for yourself, because it's all marketing. I mean, you have to wear it to sell it.
Right.
What else? Things that you use in your flat lays, your advertisement, your pictures. If you buy jewelry, Jennifer from LuLaRoe Jenny Wade, she came up with some really fun ideas of going to the Goodwill store and looking for gently to no use brand new shoes, getting them for $2 or $3, using those in your flat lays. All of that is a tax write-off.
Okay. Well, and I think that's where there's confusion, because depending on what page you're on and who is answering the question to how you run giveaways, you get about 60 different answers from 60 different people. So some say zero it out and then run it through, so Audrey's keeping track of your sales, but zero it out. Some are saying bring it down to your wholesale cost and then run it as a cash sale. And then, so it's very...
But you're going to pay the taxes on that. And
right.
You know what I mean? And you shouldn't have to pay the taxes on something that you gave away that you only paid wholesale for.
Yeah, very confusing. Very confusing. And Chrissy and I like to tell everybody that the best option is to go to their trusted CPA, because we run with a circle here of people that we trust immensely and that we know have trusted CPAs. And even talking within us, they've told us some different things. So, but I will say this, because it has been confirmed with the new Bless system, everything needs to be run through Bless. Everything, even zeroing out giveaways. It has been discussed. So I would get in the habit now. It needs to be run and zeroed out through Bless.
And I want to say Mark actually on one of the Tuesday calls had said that's exactly what you're supposed to do, is you're supposed to zero it out. Because here's the deal, when it completely transfers over, like there's ever going to be a completely, in this next phase, there's supposed to be more of an accountability to each garment. So you're going to have to run it through there, because we're not going to have the ability to necessarily change things the way that we can now. Like, I mean, I still remember Jade saying, oh, I just entered hundreds of TCs or whatever. I don't really have them, but so that she didn't have to change it again every time. And it would get mixed up anyway. It would get messed up anyways. So we're going to have to get used to running everything through there, because each garment is going to be you're going to have each garment accounted for. And if you don't run things through there appropriately, it's going to screw up your system.
Okay. We have about 8 minutes left. Are there any other questions or clarifications?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Maury, do you have anything? If you pay a helper and close, you would need to talk to your CPA about that, because that is dependent on how many hours they work and what state and county that you're in. I have learned that. So if you're helping a payer and close, you would have to talk to your CPA about that. I can't even, I have thoughts, but I don't even know legally what to do.
I think if what you're thinking is what I'm thinking, it's a matter of choice at that point. Like the babysitter thing, that's just a matter of your choice and how you do things. It's not flowing through our business, so to speak, because you're buying it at wholesale, but that's not a helper to the business.
So she's saying now, like, if your sister helps out, this is where it gets so tricky. So if it's your sister and you give her an Anna because she helped out and she's your sister, then you would still zero that out through Bless.
And we treat it as hostess rewards when that happens.
Absolutely. But Chrissy and I run every single item of inventory through Bless. But I want to say if it's a true helper, I know other people, not that your sister isn't a true helper, but people who have people come in and they're taking photographs for hours, and it's more like a job, that really needs to be through a CPA on how you're handling all that.
Well, and some people have online only, like where they come and they post for you online, or they upload all your stuff online, so they're maybe not even in the same area as you, but in a different state. So
right.
Well, and it depends on how you look at it, because people that hire bloggers, they're giving, it's actually marketing and advertising, because you're giving them the clothes for them to critique and write about it. So it's different. It just kind of depends on on what it is, what the person's role is. And then also you have to be very careful in talking to your CPA if you have a paid assistant, like meaning like cash money dollars paid, because now you have an employee. That changes your status, your tax status. So that's why we've learned so much in just the last few months of talking to CPA, and we have found that so many things get cleared up by just having an LLC. But that's something for everybody. That's not a partnership to decide if that's something that they want. But you have one too, right, Shannon?
I did. Yep. I opted to get one just to, there's a lot of different tax benefits, they said, and just I think more coverage or more security within my business as my inventory grows and some of those things. So I just wanted to get it done now.
Yeah.
Before.
Maury, when we have extra hands at pop-ups, we treat it as a hostess giveaway and zero it out through Bless. I see that question. All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. So I will, I'm going to stop recording right now. So hold on one second. Oh, I can't move this.